Hey guys, Kyle, the Death Knight of Anime here, bringing you my late night review for One Piece episode 945. So yeah, to start off, the obvious thing to talk about is that Queen gets pretty much smacked down and wrecked by Big Mom in this episode. And alluding to what I said last week, when I first read this in the manga, I was slightly annoyed by it just on the base idea of seeing someone who's supposed to be one of Kaido's upper echelon fighters getting beat down so easily. I mean, I didn't necessarily expect a win, but I was expecting much more of a fight out of Queen at the time because this is supposed to be someone who's in the same like tier or just who's in the same of like fighting ability as Jack, more or less. And but that, but having to see him get squashed so easily that at the time was a little disappointing. Now, having said that and revisiting this fight in the anime, I can say along with some added bits to the overall fight itself, I do like how this fight I do like this fight a little more now than I did before, simply because Queen getting his ass beat that bad actually adds more context to another moment later with Queen that annoyed me even more. So yeah, overall, I have a much different perspective on the fight between Big Mom and Queen, and actually even adding even more to that, like I think one particular thing that the anime did is that it really emphasized just pretty much how just it really emphasized through basically the eyes of just how much of emphasize just how much Big Mom was being motivated by her pure rage. Like a lot of her strength is coming from just her pure amount of rage. And I like how the anime did kind of address how the anime did kind of adjust such basically a little detail, but by adding like pure red to her eyes. Like it might be a little detail, but it does add a lot more context, add a lot of what is motivating a lot of Big Mom's like strength, and a lot of her fight with Queen at the time is just her rage, and is just her pure rage, and how it's motivating her to just kind of beat down on Queen. So in that sense, it also works in adding that extra little bit of context. Also, for as much okay, so also I do have to admit, for as much as the slimy son of a bitch annoys the hell out of me, I have to admit that seeing Caribou like team up with Rizzo is not only a much more fun dynamic in itself than what I initially thought, but it does show just how much of a useful ally that Caribou actually is in this moment, with not only how easily he's managed to block communication between the Udon mine and the prison mine in Onigashima, but honestly, just a simple act of him doing that at all does show that this whole plan to overtake the prison mine would be so much more difficult had he not been there. So while I still have a lot of annoyed hate, a lot of annoy, I still have a lot of reserved annoyance and hatred for the SOB. I do have to give credit where it's due that this arc has given him much better spotlight and a better showcase of his competency than what we've seen from him previously. Like again, when it came to reading about Caribou in the manga, I do admit I did let a lot of my hate towards the character like pretty much cloud my judgment. But now that I'm going in with a bit of a clearer head, I'm seeing that yeah, he basically is of use in this situation. His powers, like everything he's doing, it is helping the overall plan in order to free everyone in the Udon prison mine. And really, and really, for as much as I may hate to say it, if Caribou wasn't here, I don't think that Raizo or just the whole plan in general would have even gotten this far. I don't. It kills me to say that, but it's true. Like this is Caribou's like shine. This is Caribou's shining moment, I gotta say. Um, with that said, we get a major payoff for all of Luffy's training in this episode, which is that which is that after Big Mom realizes that there's no more like red bean soup, she basically goes on a rampage, and after learning Luffy was the one who ate it all, he she basically goes on a rampage, starts attacking him, and I like through Big Mom's rampage, it actually pushes Luffy and Hugoro into such a desperate situation that whether knowingly or not, he pretty much Luffy used the exact same technique to destroy pretty much the collars around their necks that Rayleigh had used to free Kami, which is cool in itself, but it does a couple of two things as well. It establishes how versatile this particular type of armament hockey actually is, while at the same time establishing a link between that technique and Row, which in itself also provides and together they provide much more of a starting point pretty much now for Luffy. And I love how Hyogoro not only recognizes this, but is actually using the situation to its fullest advantage to really see just how much he can tap into Luffy's ability to harness this power, because pretty much by pretty much putting him like pretty much square in Big Mom's crosshairs. And the thing is, for as dangerous as it may be, Hyogoro isn't wrong in saying this, or in saying what he said to Luffy in this, or just doing what he's doing right now, because he was right when he said that Luffy seems to tap into his greatest strength in the most dire of circumstances, and this is Luffy's ultimate test to see if he can harness that strength that will pretty much over just kind of over harnessing it just in an extremely stressful or an extremely stressful or just push or situations where he's pushed to the limit, like or just basically moments where that depend on the flip of a dime luck for him to activate this power. Because the harsh truth is that for as much as like Luffy kind of tapping into his inner strength has worked fine enough in the past, in this he can't. This is a situation where he can't afford, in order to do that exact same thing. Like, keep in mind, he is fighting. The person he's fighting is Kaido, and just based off their first encounter, it shows that Luffy has to go into this rematch with Kaido knowing he has control over this power. Otherwise, Kaido will defeat him again. So I guess you could say I like how this episode is kind of addressing something that has been a very long-term problem for Luffy ever since he entered the Grand Line. Like, a lot of this inner strength he's tapped into, it has been just purely on an emotional and just stress-induced level. But here, he's actually learning in order to tap into that inner strength at will, which I'm all for, honestly. I really am. Like, this is some great development for Luffy, honestly. And yeah, with Big Mom taking her rage on Luffy, this is one of those examples of an episode with a perfect comedic payoff, because on one hand, Chopper didn't necessarily lie to Big Mom, but because of Luffy's constant hunger, he kind of doomed himself here for not being able to control his stomach. I mean, it did kind of work in context to make things harder for the Beast Pirates, but it also complicated things for Luffy even more, because when you get down to it, this whole thing with Big Mom, while completely unintentional, is kind of a problem of Luffy's own making. And through it all, even though we get to see the more, but of course through it all, we also get to see the more sympathetic side to Big Mom, that she didn't just want the red bean soup to eat, but also that she wanted to repay the people of Okaburo Town for showing them kindness. Now, granted, this is Big Mom with her memories erased, but so who knows how much that's actually going to. Who knows if that's going to stick when she actually regains her memories? But for now, I think it is tapping into a side of Big Mom I think we haven't really seen yet, which on that note I can definitely oddly kind of appreciate. And yeah, on art and also before I forget, art and animation. This episode, like specifically in the moment where Luffy tapped into that power to destroy the collars. the art and animation on that was just fucking fire. Like this was one of those this was one of those episodes where, despite how wonky the art and animation overall might have been, it still had some great moments that really stuck out. But yeah, guys, that's all I got for this review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Crunchyroll. Dead Knight of Anime, signing off. Later, guys.